There's a whisper on the wind, a forgotten dread that clings to the Appalachian hills of West Virginia. It tells of a place where the map itself seems to falter, a town where the population reads 0. No homes are listed in any registry. No mail is delivered, for there's no one left to receive it. But paradoxically, the lights are still on. The clocks still tick, each second a phantom heartbeat in the silence. And the town records, bafflingly, still show exactly 738 people, every year, unchanged, unwavering. This isn't just an abandoned place. It's a preserved anomaly, because in 1981, this town, known as Hollow Creek, was evacuated overnight, but not in the way you'd imagine. There was no press coverage, no emergency broadcast blaring warnings, no official evacuation order from the state, just a chilling, absolute silence that felt like a shroud. The next morning, the town was empty, completely, utterly empty. Food sat on plates, half-eaten. Televisions hummed with static, left on in living rooms. There were no people, and just as disturbingly, there were no bodies. Authorities descended, puzzled and eventually unnerved. They offered no explanation. The mines, the lifeblood of Hollow Creek, were closed. Roads leading in and out were blocked, barricaded with concrete and barbed wire. Even maps seemed to conspire, blurring the very existence of Hollow Creek into an unidentifiable splotch on the landscape. Then, for 3 decades, nothing, and enforced amnesia. Until that is, a new breed of adventurers emerged, urban explorers. Driven by curiosity and a thirst for forgotten, a group of them managed to slip through the aging barricades. What they found wasn't ruins, not in the traditional sense. There was no decay, no crumbling foundations, no shattered glass. Instead, they discovered a perfectly preserved town. It was as if time itself had frozen mid-sentence, mid-breath. Their initial footage, broadcast to a small but dedicated online following, showed something deeply unsettling. One horrifying detail that made the blood run cold. The town was moving, not physically shifting location, but internally, doors closing on their own. Shadows walking down sunlit streets where no one stood. Scenes repeating, looping, a terrifying silent ballet. And then, inevitably one of them went missing, just vanished, without a trace. Weeks later, something truly impossible happened. A new citizen appeared on the official Hollow Creek census. His name? The exact same as the missing explorer. His last message, a fragment of audio recovered from a discarded device, a chilling, calm whisper. I live here now. I always have. So, dear listener, this is not just a ghost story. This is something far more insidious. What happens when a town stops being just a place and starts becoming a trap? Hollow Creek was always a place on the edge. A small mining town, nestled deep in the gnarled fingers of the Appalachian Hills. Its existence was tied to the earth, specifically to the rich seams of coal beneath its surface. Isolated, insular, its population was a constant. 738 souls. Miners, their families, shopkeepers, teachers. A self-contained world. On October 19th, 1981, that world evaporated, without warning, without explanation. One day it was vibrant, full of the sounds of life. Children playing, the rumble of mining trucks, conversations drifting from open windows. The next it was hollow, utterly, unnervingly hollow. Hence the name, a cruel irony. The local sheriff, a man named Brody, was the first to realize the true scale of the anomaly. He'd arrived at dawn, expecting to pick up some paperwork, and found a town frozen in time. Police swarmed in from neighboring counties. FBI agents, bewildered and tight-lipped, followed. They found no bodies, not a single one, just evidence of abrupt cessation. Running showers still streamed water onto tile floors. Open newspapers lay on breakfast tables, headlines unfinished. Half-eaten meals molded on plates. A baseball bat lay mid-swing in a backyard. A town caught mid-breath, a collective exhale that never finished. The only sound was the ceaseless running water, a disturbing echo in the sudden silence. No signs of struggle, No forced entry. No notes. No blood. Just an unblemished, perfect absence. Naturally, rumors exploded like brush fire. Chemical leaks from the mines, mutating the residents or driving them mad. Unseen sinkholes, swallowing entire families whole beneath the earth. Whispers of secret government projects, a clandestine experiment gone horrifyingly awry. But no official statement was ever released. The narrative offered to the public was vague, inconclusive, unsatisfying. The truth, if anyone knew it, was locked away. Within weeks, the roads leading into Hollow Creek were closed off, initially with flimsy yellow tape, then with formidable concrete barriers, topped with razor wire. Every building was sealed, windows boarded, doors chained. Entry was declared illegal, punishable by federal law, and Hollow Creek became a forgotten place, wiped from the public consciousness, its story buried under layers of classified reports and unanswered questions. It became a rumor, a ghost story whispered in hushed tones around campfires. Until, of course, someone remembered it. Someone always does. Decades later, in 2013, the digital age breathed new life into old mysteries. A group calling themselves Apex Abandoned, a popular YouTube channel known for their meticulously researched and often unsettling explorations of genuinely forgotten places, from abandoned asylums to ghost towns, announced a new series. They called it Dead Town Diaries. Their followers, numbering in the hundreds of thousands, eagerly awaited each installment. Episode 4 was teased as their most ambitious undertaking yet, Hollow Creek. They uploaded a short, atmospheric teaser. Grainy drone footage showed the cracked asphalt of a forgotten highway, leading to a faded welcome sign, barely legible. Welcome to Hollow Creek, a town forged in coal. Then shots of the formidable, rusted barricades, still standing, still warning. The drone soared high above, capturing the eerily pristine grid of streets, the silent houses nestled among the encroaching foliage. It promised a profound chill. Then silence. Not the silence of a forgotten place, but the unsettling quiet of an ongoing mystery. 3 weeks passed. Apex Abandoned, usually prolific with uploads, posted nothing. Their fans grew concerned, then agitated. Had they been caught? Were they in trouble? The channel went dark. And then one night, without explanation, a single corrupted file appeared on their channel. It wasn't a full episode. It was a fragment. The title, stark and chilling, read simply, Looped. What it showed in its distorted, glitching form disturbed even their most hardened fans. These were people accustomed to decay, to the macabre, to the echoes of past suffering. But this was different. This was active. The video began conventionally enough, at least for Apex Abandoned. It showed the usual hallmarks of abandonment. Dusty buildings, their paint peeling like sunburnt skin. Rotting curtains still hung in windows, swaying faintly in phantom drafts, hinting at forgotten lives. The camera panned slowly over the detritus of hasty departures. A child's forgotten toy truck, an overturned bicycle, a newspaper frozen mid-flip. But then, the team found something strange, something that didn't fit. As they moved deeper into the town, a subtle shift occurred. Every storefront, even those seemingly untouched for decades, appeared remarkably clean, as if recently wiped down. Power was undeniably running. In a deserted diner, a coffee machine hummed softly in the background, a lone brew cycle completing. As they passed certain houses, lights flickered on inside, just for a moment, as if responding to their presence. One of the explorers, a lanky, jovial guy named Liam, tried to inject some levity into the growing unease. He chuckled nervously, his voice echoing in the vast quiet. It's like it's waiting for us, he joked, aiming his flashlight into a darkened window. The light clicked on inside the house, illuminating an empty, pristine living room. The humor died in his throat. Then came the loop. They were walking past a large, grimy window of the old Hollow Creek diner. Liam still leading, his camera rolling. As they passed, one of them, the quiet documentary of the group, Maria, stopped dead. Her voice, usually calm, was a choked gasp. She pointed, her hand trembling, in the reflection of the diner window. A perfect, clear reflection, They saw themselves in real time, their exact movements mirrored, but it wasn't just a reflection. It was as if they were observing a playback of their own actions. It was almost perfectly identical, except for one crucial, horrifying detail. Their doubles in the reflection didn't look surprised, not in the slightest. Their mirrored faces held a blank, knowing expression, as if this was not an anomaly for them, as if they were merely going through the motions, as if they were exactly where they were supposed to be, and always had been. The unease, already a palpable presence, morphed into cold, creeping fear. They tried to rationalize it, a trick of light, an optical illusion, but the feeling that the town was not merely preserved, but aware, was undeniable. The next day, as they continued their disoriented exploration, one member of the group, Eli Ward, the most experienced of the urban explorers, known for his calm under pressure, vanished. The raw footage, the corrupted file Apex Abandoned later released, showed it with terrifying clarity. The video cuts mid-walkthrough. 1 minute. Eli is there, leading the way down a narrow, shadowy alleyway between two old storefronts, his headlamp bobbing. The next, he's simply gone. No sound, no scream, no struggle, just an abrupt, impossible absence. His camera, mounted on his chest, was still recording. It didn't capture his disappearance, but rather the split second after. It showed a brief, terrifying frame. A dark, impossibly long hallway, with flickering light stretching into an unseen distance, and then a quick pan to a dusty, full-length mirror leaning against the wall at the hallway's end. In the reflection of that mirror, Eli was visible. He was waving, but he wasn't holding the camera anymore. He was waving from inside the mirror, his expression serene, almost content. And then the camera clattered to ground, the lens pointing at a patch of cracked pavement, recording only the sound of a distant, faint melody. The remaining group members, shattered and terrified, searched all night. Their frantic calls echoed through the empty streets. Eli! Eli! Only the wind answered. No response. No sign. They knew, with a primal certainty, that something irreversible had occurred. They stumbled out of town just before dawn, their minds reeling, their equipment abandoned. That was the last time they were allowed near it. Federal agents, alerted by their abandoned drone footage and frantic calls, quickly move in, solidifying the barricades, adding new surveillance. Hollow Creek had claimed another. Weeks after Eli's disappearance, a bizarre and chilling footnote was added to the already impossible story. A reporter, working on a long-shot lead related to the Apex Abandoned incident, filed a Freedom of Information Act FOIA, requesting the state's census data for West Virginia. She was looking for anything unusual, any anomaly related to unpopulated areas. What she uncovered was both mundane and utterly terrifying. The Hollow Creek Registry, a document supposedly locked away for decades, marked by a population of 0, had been updated. The population still read 738, but one of the names on that list was new, impossibly new. Eli James Ward, age 26, occupation, minor. He was listed as a longtime resident of Hollow Creek. His birth year, the reporter discovered with a jolt, had been changed from 1987, Eli's actual birth year, to 1938. And for his parents, the registry simply stated, unknown. No one could explain it. The State Department initially dismissed it as a glitch, a clerical error. But the reporter pressed, finding no other such glitches in the database. Eli had not merely vanished. He had been rewritten, ingrained, integrated. And Eli was never found, not in any physical sense. His body never recovered. His identity, however, seemed to have been profoundly and irrevocably absorbed by Hollow Creek. Eli's brother, Jordan Ward, a brilliant but intensely private programmer, refused to accept his brother's unexplained disappearance. He felt the official story was a fabrication, a dismissal, Driven by grief and a desperate need for answers, Jordan began his own investigation. He knew Eli kept meticulous digital backups, and he knew how to access them. After days of relentless searching through encrypted cloud drives and forgotten hard drives, Jordan found it. One final audio log, tucked away in a hidden directory. It was a single file, 13 minutes long. He braced himself, hoping for an explanation, a final message, anything. What he heard was beyond anything he could have anticipated. It began with a distinct sound of footsteps, echoing slightly, as if Eli was walking through enclosed, empty space. Beneath the footsteps, a faint, almost imperceptible ambient music played, a mournful, cyclical melody that seemed to be woven into the very fabric of the recording. And then a whisper, Eli's voice, but distant, as if speaking from a great distance. "I live here now." The whisper was calm, almost peaceful. "I always have." It repeated, over and over, a mantra. "I live here now. I always have." The footsteps continued, rhythmic. The ambient music, slowly, subtly, changed key, becoming deeper, more ancient. And then, the most terrifying transformation began. As the words continued to repeat, Eli's voice itself began to change, became older, slower, deeper, as if time was not just passing, but actively rewriting itself with each whispered syllable. His youthful voice matured, thickened, aged, until it was a voice Jordan barely recognized. A voice that sounded like it had spoken those words for 80 years, not just 13 minutes. The message wasn't just a statement. It was a process, a horrifying, auditory transformation. Paranormal researchers, academic philosophers, and even a few rogue physicists have theorized about Hollow Creek. Their conclusions, though varied in specifics, converge on a chilling consensus. Hollow Creek isn't simply haunted in the traditional sense. It's not just specters or echoes of the dead. It's alive. They believe it's a town-shaped anomaly, some kind of time-folded pocket, a temporal singularity disguised as a rural community, a place that doesn't just exist within time, but actively consumes identity. It's a mechanism. Once you're in too long, once the town's influence takes hold, it doesn't just observe you. The town remembers you, and then it rewrites you. You don't die in Hollow Creek, not in the way we understand it. You dissolve. Your memories, your identity, your very essence are not destroyed, but rather absorbed, reformed, and then subtly altered. You become part of the story it tells itself, part of its constant, unchanging population of 738. And it tells that story again, and again, forever. Eli Ward didn't die. He became Eli James Ward, the 1938 miner. His past was seamlessly, terrifyingly woven into the town's own manufactured history. Hollow Creek is still off limits. The barricades stand strong, reinforced, guarded. Yet if you look closely enough at recent Google Earth satellite images, those taken on cloudy nights, you can still discern the faint, undeniable glow of flickering lights down those forbidden streets. And occasionally, if the resolution is just right, you might even spot a lone, spectral figure, a man in old-fashioned work clothes, slowly sweeping the porch of a house that, on paper, no longer exists. A house whose blueprints were lost to time, but whose form is perfectly preserved. The state census records, inexplicably, still read, population, 738. And every year, without fail, a new name quietly appears on that registry. A name replacing one that is finally, truly, dissolved. The town doesn't expand its borders. It doesn't sprawl or grow. It simply adjusts. It consumes, it integrates, it maintains its perfect, horrifying equilibrium. So the next time you find yourself passing through a forgotten place, a seemingly ordinary ghost town that feels just a little too still, a little too quiet, listen closely. Don't let the silence fool you, because some places don't remember who you were. They don't care about your past. They remember who they need you to be. And sometimes, if you're not careful, you might just find that you're already living there. You always have.